In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can best prep your files for print and for screen. So last year we had sort of a reoccurring issue with the storage on our Wix websites. It is capped at 500 meg, but what we're finding is students don't really understand the difference between PSDs, PNGs, reduced quality JPEGs. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how what the best practice is for prepping for print and prepping for screen. So I'll just use this image as an example. So if I just go to File and Image Size, you can see that this is your basic A4, 29.7 by 21, and the resolution is set at 300 pixels per inch. Now 300 is perfect for printing. All your files should be set to 300. The difference between print and screen is usually 72 pixels per inch. However, we feel best practice is to produce all your material at 300 pixels per inch, because you never know, you might be printing this for your exhibition space, and it's a lot easier to scale images down than it is to scale them up. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to show you saving this as a PSD. So PSDs are great. They're editable, so you can keep all the layers in them. I'm just going to call this test 1. So if I save this as a PSD, now if I go to this file now on my desktop, click I can get the information up. So you can see that this particular file size is 32 megabytes. So it's got lots of information in there. So if you were to try and put them on your website, you'll only be able to put about 15 or 20, and you'd take up the 500 meg limit. So let's see what happens when we flatten this. So go to Layer and flatten the image. So compress all these layers together. Now obviously once you have done this, you're not able to go back and separate the layers. So if it was me, I'd always keep a PSD version, and when you feel that you've finished and ready to put it on your website, you flatten the image, but do a save as. So if I then now go to File, Save As. So this one I'm just going to call Print. Flattened. And in this instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it as a PNG. Now, PNGs are quite a good file type. You don't lose any of the data or the resolution when you compress the file. And also PNGs are quite good for transparency. So they recognize transparencies, which is obviously something that some of you may want on your website. If I save this now, so this is as a PNG at that file type now. So this one, as you can see, is a flattened PNG. So if I go to size, you can see that we've gone down to 3.7 meg. So again, this is printable. It won't have lost any of that resolution. PNGs are great file types to save as. You won't be able to go in and edit that in terms of the layers, so that's why it's always good practice to have a PSD version of your files. But this is still quite big for screen. It's still got the 300 pixels per inch, which you do not need for screen. 72 pixels is fine for screen. So let's try and make that file size a little bit smaller now. So if I go to File and Save As and click here, so what we'll do now is save this as a JPEG. So JPEG, you do lose a little bit of the resolution. However, we've got to remember this is what is going to be seen on a screen. So you're not going to be able to tell the difference when you look at them on screen. So flattened, I'm just going to call this screen. So arguably the best format to save it in is 12 is quality 12. So if I click OK on that one, and let's go and have a look at that file size now. So now we're down to 2.2 meg, which is still quite big. It's still got that resolution, so you'll be able to print this without a problem. If we were to go back now and reduce the quality of that JPEG, so File, Save As. So I'm just going to call this one Reduced. And this time I'm going to change this to 8. And we look at the information from each of those file types, you can see the PSD version is the largest, obviously at 32 meg, because it's got all the different layers and all that information. So this is fully editable. So this, you should always save a PSD version of your file, of any of the documents that you make, any of the design work or any of the photographs that you've leveled. Always save a PSD, but then flatten them and save a screen version. So PNG is again good for transparencies, but still quite data heavy. JPEGs, you do lose a bit of the quality, but again, the file size, which was the quality of 12, is 2.2 meg, so you'd still be able to print this one. And this one here, which is 547 kilobytes, which is half a meg, will be absolutely fine for screen. So this one you would save for screen, these 3 file types you would save for print. And I'll just show you the actual quality of those images and see if you can tell the difference. So this one and this one. So this one is the bigger file type. So this is the JPEG 2.2 and this is the JPEG that's half a meg. You can't tell the difference because you're only seeing 72 pixels of it on your screen per inch. So that is how you can save your images. Hopefully you've found that quite useful. For me, I would always have 2 folders for every stage. So one where you save your print versions and one where you save your screen versions. If at any point you get, if you're still unsure, just ask your teacher or come and ask me and we'll help you out with your file types.